Today on Pots and Trowels I'm out in the veg plot starting to warm up the soil to get it ready for spring sowing, and it's brought to you with the support of Allett, Cobra Garden and Mr Fothergill's. Well, hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels, and we've managed to find a bit of a window to get out into the vegetable plot. We've had some horrible weather. I think the whole of the UK's experienced. We've had rain and snow and frost, so it's just not been suitable to work out in the garden, but we've got a bit of a window today. There is a bit of snow just floating down, but I thought I'd just come out and do a little bit of work. First thing is, if you've got a veg plot that you're getting ready for the spring, then if it's wet or frozen or snowy, don't attempt to dig it, because all you're going to do is to make a mess, and it's not going to do the soil structure any good at all. And my golden rule is, if you're walking on the soil and it sticks to your boots easily, then keep off it until you can get on it and it's not as wet. The other thing is, if you've got some garden compost or mulch that you want to spread, don't start putting it on the beds at the moment, because again, it's wet and it's cold and you're just going to seal that in. We need the soil to naturally warm up a little bit so we can seal in the moisture and the warmth, which will benefit the plants. And that leads us very nicely on to warming up the soil. Because what we can do now, although it's far too early to be sowing or planting in the garden, I certainly don't start to put anything in till the very earliest, the end of March. We're in North Yorkshire, of course, but it's usually early April before I start to do any sowing or planting. So what I'm going to do for now is just to warm up a few areas where I want to do that early sowing, when I'm going to be putting a few early carrots in and probably spring onions and things like that, just to give them a bit of a head start. And what I've got here are some of these lovely old barn cloches. Now, these were really popular years and years ago. They were used commercially by market gardeners. Poor Molly's cold and shivering as well, aren't you, today? Glass just on a wire frame, looked like the shape of a barn, hence the name barn cloches. You can pick these up quite reasonably priced on the internet, on eBay and that type of thing. I think these cost me £5 each, so really good. And if you don't want glass in them, if the glass breaks, you can replace it with perspex so that they're really easy and light to handle. And all I'm going to do is place these in a row along this part of the veg plot, and it won't so much keep the cold off, but it keeps the rain off, so the soil isn't going to get any wetter. It will drain and it will naturally dry out a little bit. But when we do get some sun, which hopefully we will in a week or two's time, the sun will beat on this glass, and it's amazing how warm the soil will get. And just those 2 or 3 degrees make a big difference. And if I just get down and put my hand underneath, I can feel that the soil under there isn't as wet as it is outside, so it's really going to help to warm this up over the next few weeks. And another thing that you can do that's really easy to warm up the soil is to get some polythene. Black polythene is best, and I've just got a sheet of black polythene here, and what I'm going to do is just lay this out over the veg plot, making sure that I don't cover Molly. I'm just going to unfold it. So this is going to cover a plot of ground. It's Molly, come off, good girl, good girl. You can't be part of the polythene. Good girl. I'm just going to lay that out and weigh it down with some bricks. And what will happen is it will warm up as the sun shines on it. Come off. What are you doing on the polythene? Good girl. Off the polythene. Good girl. We're going in where it's warm by the fire in a minute, I promise. What will happen is, when the sun does shine on this black polythene, it will get warm. If you're outside and you get a bit of sun on anything black, put your hand on it, it always feels warm. That warmth will go through into the soil, and again it will help to warm it up. So in another 6 weeks time, I can take this polythene back, I can rake it over, get a lovely seed bed there, and I can start sowing and planting in the garden. So although it's too early to sow, you can get out there and do a bit of warming up of the soil in preparation. There we go. I think it's a few sprouts for tea tonight. So thank you for watching. Thank you for telling all your friends about us. And next week we're going to be back out in the garden. I'm going to be cutting down the autumn raspberries.